Hi, welcome to the Lone Star Dowsers. Let's see, this is May 2023 meeting. And boy, this year's just zoomed by so fast. And there's a lot happening. Anyway, I am very pleased that our beloved Sandee Mac is joining us tonight. And you all know she's, you name it, she's probably done it and certified it and teaches in it. So yeah, if you want to read her bio, please do so. It's on the it'll be on the recording and it's on this link. But Sandee's a master dowser. She's a teacher of many things. She's a shaman. She's a Feng Shui practitioner. I mean, emotion code practitioner. The list goes on. Anyway, and she's been a very important person in my journey. So I am very grateful to you, Sandee Mac. And she is going to be talking to us tonight about minding your business. So I'm going to just turn it over. And if you guys have questions, I think Sandee's got a lot of information, so she's going to talk fast. And if you have questions, put them in the chat and I'll keep up with them and try to interject where I can. Welcome,
Perfect.
Sandee.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mary. And thank you, everyone that's on it. We had a little bit of technological difficulties last week with Mercury retrograde, solar storms, and other associated interests. I can't understand why there would be controversy because this is a non-controversial subject. However, last time I got kicked off of YouTube because I spoke too honestly. So I'll speak in code and I'm sure you can douse the truth behind it. And all the alphabet agencies are going to be wanting to go, I guess I better learn how to dowse. Okay, so I want to thank Lone Star Dowsers, which are one of my most favorite dowsing chapters. Also my thanks to Mary, of course, Mary Wilson, my long-term friend and associate and whatever. Miss Emily Sloan, who is the behind-scene magician mistress who does all the tech stuff, and we love her and her outrageous laugh. I love Emily's laugh. And then all my friends and clients and friends in Houston, and then all my friends and clients that are everywhere, and all the other dowsing chapters, the Appalachia dowsing chapter, the North California dowsing chapter, the Tucson dowsing chapter, the Syracuse chapter, and so many other chapters that have been supportive of me for so many years. I also want to thank particularly all of the old dowsers, and particularly what I call the ancient dowsers. Some of these are sky dowsers, but also because dowsing is a skill that goes back literally thousands and thousands of years, that all of those dowsers, I believe, are still holding us in their stead, in their heart, in their mind, and hoping that we stay connected, that we carry on the skill and use that. And so I want to always acknowledge that, because dowsing can be considered everything from a life-saving tool to a parlor trick. And so we wonder sometimes, what is it really? Is it a gift? Yes, it's a gift. It's a gift from the divine, and it's a gift for everybody that's exposed to it, that takes advantage of it. But some people thought, oh, only certain people have that ability. Is it a science? Absolutely, it's a science. We used to have science directors when I was involved with the ASD, and we've done a lot of major experiments and research. For example, there was some research done quite a few years ago by a true master dowser named Ed Stillman, who lived in Sedona and dowsed most of the major resorts and hotels there. Some wells were more than 1,000 feet deep. And he arranged with a particular research lab who was reluctant to even do this, but he did it. They did it because we paid them. People would do almost anything for money, wouldn't they? That they found out they had a few really excellent dowsers. And what they discovered is that when someone is really on target, not just because you picked up a pendulum, but when you're really on target in quote unquote, like the zone of dowsing, that you are actually in all four brainwave level frequencies at the same time: beta, alpha, I started to say zeta, delta,
Gamma.
and gamma. Yeah. And there's no other group not even long-term Tibetan monks, that simultaneously can be in all 4 brainwave level frequencies at the same times and be awake and be functional. And that was one of the scientific things we found out about dowsing. So it's definitely a science. It's also an art, because you have to be innovative and creative on how you ask questions and what you think about dowsing or not dowsing. And it's also a skill. It's simple, but not necessarily easy. It can be taught to children, and you never truly, in my opinion, become a master of a master of a master, because there's always something more to learn. But it goes back to very, very ancient times. I've been to Egypt, and I've seen on some of the temple walls and some of the places that we were, hieroglyphics, not just hieroglyphics, the writing, but actually drawings of people working with dowsing instruments. So that civilization goes back 5,000 or 10,000 years. So we know that it's very, very ancient, humble little skill, art, science, gift. So I want to really acknowledge dowsing. I want some of the newer people that haven't really thought about it this way to go like, well, what if you did have something? What if you had a device that could work directly with source, What if you had something that go from the macro, the giant galactic levels, down to the micro, down to not only the DNA, not only the cellular level, but the mitochondria, and even beyond that into just the energy frequency level? What if you had a device that could do that? What if you had something that could check on situation, events, or experiences that were in time or out of time, that you could go to the past, you could be in the future, and you could be in the present, even simultaneously. Another thing about dowsing is that you can be very, very precise. You can be more precise than the most expensive multi-million-dollar medical equipment they have at the Texas Medical Center. You can be more precise with that, and don't underestimate the ability. Remember, it can be taught to anyone, especially children. I've told the story a couple of times before where I had an associate in Vermont or New Hampshire. She was talking to some of her friends. One older lady had been dowsing for many, many years. She was alive in World War II. And my friend asked her, when did you first learn to douse? She was a little child during World War II. I don't know if she was in Poland or where she was. It's unimportant. She lived with her brother and her mother in a remote area. The father was gone. I don't know if he was dead or in the camps or what. But the mother would taught them, they had a little rock on a string. And the mother taught them every day that they were to swing that little string. And if it went one way, she would be home and they would be safe. And it went another way, they were to run into the woods and hide. So it saved their life, literally, by these little children. They were like 4 or 5 or 5 and 6 years old to learn dowsing, to be able to do that. I think that's such a remarkable story. And it's important to understand that children, because they don't even have any beliefs about it, can easily be taught dowsing. So please teach your kids how to douse. And the whole key to dowsing is to practice. Learn from as many dowsers as you can. Just because you took a class with me or somebody else doesn't make you any kind of an extreme expert. Study with everybody that you can. Take classes online. Take classes from Marty Kane, from Raymond Grace. Look at some of the old things. Read the old books. Learn from everybody that you possibly can. They've all got a different slant. They've got a different perspective, a little bit different way. See what works for you. Because dowsing is outside of Newtonian physics. Dowsing is in the quantum field. And the quantum field is the field of unlimited creativity, unlimited abundance, unlimited love, unlimited joy. It's the infinite. And that's what dowsing is, and that's where it can go. So I don't want you to underestimate in any way this skill, or whatever you call it, is for the potential of you. And we have not been in such important times as we are right now in what, 10, 20, 30,000 years since there's been a breakdown of the civilization and a creation of a new one. So this is really the key to survival, to freedom, to everything. So practice, learn how to dowse really accurately, learn how to do good questions. Don't ask stupid questions. Don't say, is this good for me? Yeah, it might be good to be a doorstop. It might be good to put in the doghouse or something like that. Learn to ask sophisticated, precise, excellent questions. And there's lots of stuff out there how to do that. Make sure that you clear yourself when you're doing this, that you get, you're working in a clear energetic space, that you clear your energies off. Use, if you need to, get a dowsing buddy to double check things that you're doing with. There's lots of times I'm not 100% sure because I may have an emotional attachment. And I have 2 or 3 other people. They've got full access to my higher self. They have a history of being good dowsers, and I don't hesitate to call them if there's something I need to know or I want a second opinion on them. And finally, I would invite you is to learn how to dowse, not just yes or no's, but to dowse on a percentage basis, because it might be a yes, but it's only 10% yes. So ask something, to what degree, or what's the percentage, or what's the likelihood of this or that or the other. It's not just a yes or no. For example, a friend down in Tucson that called about a week or so ago, they had a dog that they've had, I don't know, 10, 15 years, and he was really, really sick. They thought they needed to put him down, but they weren't sure. They were trying to dowse, but they were all in such tears. And so they asked me to dowse, should this dog be put down? And they were just asking yes or no. And I got, well, yes, but no too. And what it was partly he was ready to go, but he was so worried about them, and would they be okay? And would they be comfortable? And would they be safe? So they sat down with that dog and had a nice long talk with him. And when he was assured that they would be okay, they'd still be able to connect on the other side, then it dowsed 100% yes. All 3 of us dowsed yes. The vet came that afternoon, they put him down, and they've seen his little spirit hopping around the house since then, and they're just great. So it may not be a simple yes, no, and that's the value of learning how to dowse in a percentage basis. Okay, so we're going to talk about business. That's pretty non-controversial, I hope. Oh, it's still holding at 78%. I'm so glad. So we're not losing power. Thanks for praying, y'all. That's what happened last week. Nothing in the house electronically would work. Not the landline, not the cell phone, not the iPad, nothing. Anyway, so let me give you some examples of using dowsing in actual business. If you have a business, whether it's a part-time hustle or gig, or a full-time, or an entrepreneur of a major corporation or whatever, just some examples of how you can use. One thing is to check and see if this is the appropriate business for you. Is it in alignment with your soul's purpose? Is it in alignment with your highest and best good, or your soul's journey? I've worked in all kinds of different businesses, and I'd go, what does this have to do with anything? Whether it was working in a mental hospital dealing with, crazy people, no disrespect, whether it was a bartender, whether it was professional modeling, whether it was all kinds of different things. But now, looking back in my golden senior years, I can see that every one of these different kinds of jobs contributed directly to where I'm at and what I'm doing and what I might be doing in the future. So you might just check and see if this is in alignment, even if it doesn't seem like it is at the time. Another thing you could check would be about the percentage of profit that you're making. Is it a business that's based on profit, or is it just here to help people? Are you philanthropic and wealthy enough that all you have to do is just have the business be operating or functioning, that you don't have to make money on it? So check those things.
So say that again. Is this a business that will make me money?
Yeah, make money, or
And
is
then
it
what
supposed to be
percentage?
making money? And then what's the maybe you only have 2% profit.
Mm.
If you're putting a huge amount of time and effort and energy into it, be honest with yourself. Check those things up. Some things that you might need to adjust is you want to keep up to date with whatever new developments are that's in the business. You want to check about the location. If it's not something you're doing from home, check the location of where your business is, if it's a brick and mortar thing. And of course, you would want to check other things like the feng shui of it. All of those things are important. Even you might need to check to see who's the best Feng Shui practitioner for your particular business or your particular issue. You want to keep up to date with the newest developments and things. So be open to learning new things. You certainly want to check for your employees. I had a fellow that used to fly me down to Costa Rica. He was an American, but he was running his business out of Costa Rica. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't anything bad. And I would go down there and he would give me a list of every one of his employees, from the financial people to the salesman, to the maid, to the babysitter of his children, every single person that was involved with him and his business. He would give me a list of every one of those. And I'd spend about 3 days down there and I would douse that for a whole list of things and muscle test. I did both things to double check, and then gave him that list back and say, well, you can trust this person or you can't trust that or whatever.
Yeah. What were some of the questions that you asked?
That's what I had a whole chart set up like a spreadsheet, although I don't know how to do those things. But for example, I would check, what is that person's level of integrity? And that is a good question you ask for anybody, whether you're just hiring a kid to mow the lawn, what's their level of integrity? And if it's not a pretty high level, just say, send the next one in, please. Thank you very much. What's their level of integrity? And then whatever the business is that is required for them to be good and competent in the business. For example, product knowledge. How well do they know what they're selling or dealing with or developing? Another thing is, what's their level of loyalty? They might be stabbing you in the back or have another agenda. What's their level of communication skill? If it's something that they have to do work with a team, or is it something that they can work on their own and just work on their own about? What's the level of competency that they have? You can't say, are they competent or not competent? What's the level of competency? And maybe they're competent in some areas. I'm real good at some stuff. I'm not worth squat usually with much technology, but what's the level of competency? Are they a team player if it's something that requires that? And then you just need to check all the employees. So for this fellow in Costa Rica, such a good example, I checked every single person, everything down to the maid, to the babysitter for the kids, to all their salesmen, to everybody. And the last time I was down there, he had just brought in this new woman to be his chief financial officer. He was so excited about her. Oh, she can do this. She's going to be so great, whatever. When I'm dowsing privately, I got a really low score. Like she could only be like 20% trusted, or her integrity was down or something. It's like, what's the matter? She was real cool with me, very friendly, all this stuff. I couldn't get it to go any higher than that low percentage. I called two other friends in Houston and my friend in the East Coast and said, would you please douse on this person? What's the deal? And they got very low scores as well. And so I go to the guy and I go, look, like Dr. Phil says, I don't have a dog in this fight. This is your business. You're paying to fly me down here. You're paying me all these expenses. But I'm telling you, there's something wrong with this woman. Oh, no, she's great. She's got a great history. She can do this. I'm trusting her with everything. I'm telling you, he called me back about a month later and said, you were absolutely right. She ripped me off. She stole so much money. She did this, she did that and everything. And he would have never known, because he was arguing with me. I said, I don't care. This is your stuff. I'm just telling you what I'm getting. So these are things that can make a huge difference in the success or the failure of your business, whatever that is, whether it's a small little business or a big business. So I just wanted to give you those as some kinds of ideas of different things. So let's check for a minute now, Mary, and see if anybody's got any questions or anything else they want to add about that.
We do not have any questions in the chat right now, so I think we're good. I mean, those are great questions. If you own a business or even work in a business, I think you could add this. Or maybe you're interviewing, is this a company that operates from integrity?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and just those are all good questions, I think, to ask.
Yeah. Absolutely. If you don't ask anything else, ask the level of integrity. anything else. That's because you just don't want to be dealing with any scoundrels or people that have got pie in the sky ideas, but they don't have any competency or experience or capability in what they're doing. So be sure and check the integrity at the very most little of everything. Yeah.
Okay. There's a question, checking our website. So I guess the website is really your business in cyberspace.
Hey,
So
that is a great point. That's a really good point. Yeah, check your website if it's conveying what you want to, if you need to change some things about that or whatever. That's great. A couple things I'd like to change with mine, but I have an old friend, probably 50 some years old, from Houston, Sandy Penny, and she took a look at my website and said, I could do better than this. And she took everything down and put a whole new website up for me. So, and I trusted her. Because I'd known her for a long time and know that she was very capable and competent. Her higher criteria just had to do with awakening people and serving people. It wasn't about trying to make a whole lot of money. So that's a good point. Thank you, whoever said that.
Trying to think of what else would you want to ask on a website. Is my message clear?
Communication, the right, are you using the right webmaster? Does it communicate all the things that you want to get to people? Are you, I don't know, different servers or something, but maybe you have to check all that sort of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, or my SEO, or since things change so rapidly, maybe it's is this person, they'll be, more than 75% beneficial for my, maintaining my website.
Are they in alignment with you and your purpose? Can you trust them? Can they be counted on? Are they capable and competent people? At the very least, yeah. I think there was another question that came. Did somebody else have a question in the chat?
Yeah, it says, if the employee was not there in person, what did you use for the reference for the employee's energy? You use their names, right? For the Costa Rican guys, employees. Did you meet all those?
I met most of them and I used their names. Yes, that's exactly right. I used their names. I had a list of their names. There was probably, 20 some people, because he had a lot of salesmen and different things like that. Yeah.
Okay. So the name counts as that you can get the energy from somebody's name, especially in relation to a particular company or circumstance.
And I wasn't asking anything about their personal business, like whatever, but because they worked for him, then he had the right to know, do they have good product knowledge? Are they a team player? Can they be trusted? Yeah. He had a right to know that.
So we have a question. Do you have a list of things where we can see that qualify as good or sophisticated, I guess, precise questions?
I'm giving it to you.
Yeah, so just take notes. There's not a handout for this at this time.
Because it's going to vary from business to business. If you have some specific question, figure that out, and then we'll get that before we end about your particular business. But I've got a few more things.
Right. But the one I'm taking notes as we go, and you've given a lot of great questions to ask. So.
Okay, great. Okay, good. Sorry, it's just I couldn't do anything that would be broad enough for all the different kinds of businesses, Okay, so the business of just day-to-day living, day-to-day life would be you douse any kind of different services that you need for your home or your life or whatever. Any kind of everything from, should I go to this doctor, or this chiropractor, or this dentist, or whatever, and which one. It's not who's the best one, but who's the best one for me, or most in alignment with me, or most beneficial to me. So you want to ask it in a way that helps you get real clear. They may be brilliant, but they're not the best one for you. It's the same thing like with psychics and mediums and channelers and everything. They may be the best for everybody, but they're not in alignment on the same frequency that you are. So you want to check about that. Everything from who picks up your garbage to any other kind of service that you have, like a lawn service or something like that.
You can also ask, like, best time of day. Like, I remember different people giving things, is this the um the
Appropriate or
best time for me to go to the grocery store is between 3 and 4 today,
right.
yes or no, or you can do the percentage of how beneficial
Absolutely,
that would
the
be.
optimal time or the best or most appropriate. Absolutely. So you want to check anybody that you hire for anything. Just check them out. Like I said, at the minimum, check integrity and competency. It could be simple things. It could be like one of the things that and this is so exciting and inspiring. I know you're going to be thrilled to know about this. I have to get my septic tank pumped. Living out here in the country, it hasn't been pumped in 10 years. So this is a big fat deal, because if you don't take care of your septic, after a while it backs up in the shower and you go, oh, holy moly, what am I going to do? So
I don't think that's what you say. You were just making it G-rated for us, so thank you.
it's a family show. Okay. So I am in the market for a septic tank pumper outer. They call them honey pots. Can you believe that? And I've got to check several different, go down the phone book or look on the Google thing or whatever, check several different people and check not only their prices, but their competency in terms of coming and cleaning out my septic tank, because it's a big deal. It's a big deal when you live out in the country and you have to take care of your own poopy stuff. So that's just an example of something that you might not. Another thing is checking for things like which bank should you use and what services with that. Anything to do with your money. Should I have money market account? Should I do the stock market? Should I buy more Bitcoin or not? And which particular kind? Should I invest in any of the metals or not? Should I invest in other items that might have to do in case there's some kind of an upset of some kind that might be coming from some level at some point in some time to you or the community near you? Check all those different check brands, check prices, check reviews, all the rest of that sort of thing. And then even other things to do with your house, like the air conditioner system. Like I just found out I bought call those things a generator last year, and I was supposed to be installing some kind of a little microchip so I could monitor it on the phone. And inside the cover, which I never really look at, it said the battery. So now I can't install that until I get an authorized dealer to come and do a 1-year maintenance check. So there's 2 or 3 different Generac dealers in this area. I've got to douse which one is going to be the best one to come and maintain my outside generator. So things that you might not ordinarily think of. The insurance companies, oh my goodness, there's such a vast amount of difference between, Geico and AAA and some of these other insurance companies, probably for your health if you have that. I don't have any, but for your car, for your house, and all the rest of that. So check for your insurance companies. Check for bargains and sales. Is it really worth it? Are they just selling some old thing that they want to get rid of that's not really that good anymore anyway? Sometimes in a place that was like, God, I really need to get that. I really think that. And I was like, and I'll pull my little pendulum out, because that's the extra pocket that you have in your jeans. You thought that little baby pocket was to put a pocket watch if you worked for the Southern Pacific Railroad for 50 years, and they would give you a gold. That's not what it's for. God put that little baby pocket there for you to put a pendulum in. And that's my goal for everybody in the world, to have a pendulum in that pocket and know how to use it. So pull your little pendulum out and go, should I really get this? Or is it appropriate? Or is it my highest and best good? Or is it in divine order? Is it my best benefit to purchase this at this time or not? Yes or no? And if it says no, I go, okay, you win, whatever, that you got it. Makes decision making very easy, especially if you're a Libra or you have a bunch of Libra in your chart. Astrologically, I have 4 planets. You can't make up your flipping mind to save your soul, because the world is not a world of black and white. The world is a world of rainbows, and there's all these different shades of gray. So it's hard for Libras to make up their mind. This way, make up your mind. Okay.
I was thinking car repair would be really
excellent.
um
Car repair, great. I need to get a maintenance on my thing. And I just doused. There's 2 dealers that could do it. One is a Subaru dealer. And it said, no, don't go to that one. Go to the place where you bought it from in the first place. Okay. So I'm not going to call the Subaru dealer. I'm not going to call them. It's to do a whatever, one of those things. Yeah.
so I guess you could ask, are they in integrity, or is this repair you needed at this time?
Going to be done cheaper elsewhere. All kinds of different things. Yeah. Everything about your vehicle and your house. Everything about your house too. Like say you're going to paint the house inside. Well, you check to see what color you want to put in that room. And what's the intention of that room? Is it a place where you want stimulating conversation and people to be real lively? Or is it like you want to put some blues or lavenders in your bedroom because you want to be able to go to sleep and rest and not have a lot of disruption? I mean, like my bathroom off my bedroom is all in bright yellow light. Wake up like a little birdie in the morning, jump in that shower, brush your teeth, and get ready for the day. It's not like, oh, let's just ease in and be real nice and calm. Oh, so check what colors you need to do and things like that. Any other questions in terms of just regular day-to-day dowsing for anything to do with business or money or anything like that? Check on that stuff. I'm going to move my whiteboard here.
If you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat. Could you be more specific about your food and allergy question? Someone put a question about food and allergies, but it's not very specific. So,
okay, well, food now, is she talking about food to eat or allergies to foods?
Which food is not good to eat?
Okay, that's an example of a dumb question. Thank you for that. Like, good for what? Are you trying to heal your liver? I found out, sometimes there's problems with sleeping at night from any number of reasons, the 5G, the solar flares, the AI, all this junk. One of the things that I found out, 2 of the things that I found out recently as far as eating, if you eat some oatmeal before you go to bed at night, or if you eat a banana with the potassium and stuff in it, both of those help you sleep. So what's the food? I mean, are you having an allergic reaction like a bellyache, or you break out in hives or something like that? What's the situation with the food that you're asking about?
Right. So that's an example of needing to be more precise. The outcome, if you want, what will the nutrients in this food be highly beneficial for my body, or will this give me more strength or energy, or will this
reduce inflammation,
help me to relax? Yeah, reduce your inflammation. Yeah, and each body is very specific to what it requires too.
Yes, very much so. So there's keto diets and there's paleo diets and there's vegetarian. And then I had this guy working for me for a while building carpentry stuff. And he was doing this diet, was nothing but meat, mostly raw. That's it. And I saw him, it's been 2 years or so. And I saw him at the post office about a week ago. And he said, hey, I'm all better. I did that thing for a long time and I got rid of all my whatever it was. I was like, okay, that's not my choice, is raw meat diet. And I'm not even going to douse if I should eat it because I'm not interested in it. Yeah. So and I think that's because everybody's different. And I think because we've all got different kinds of alien DNA in us, and we're coming from different frequencies and systems and all that. So it's very much of an individual matter.
I think so too. And I think how you're feeling at the time you eat it too. If you're eating something with a tremendous amount of judgment, oh, I shouldn't be eating this, then I think that can be very detrimental.
Absolutely. And that you better enjoy that ice cream and chocolate cake. You better just relish it when you're doing it. Yeah, relish it. Okay. if she could give us a little more clarity on the allergies and the food thing, I'd be helpful. But there is a thing somewhere on YouTube, I think it was for Lone Star Dowsers, wasn't it, Mary, that I did the whole thing on the allergy cure? If it wasn't somewhere around, we'll find that. And it's a whole teaching on how to cure allergies with dowsing. Yeah.
She said that you answered that for her, and she appreciates it.
Okay.
And somebody else said Jordan Peterson swears by the meat only diet, that it really works for him. So
it does work
good for him.
It does work for some people. I'm not dowsing to see if I need to do it, like I said. Sometimes there's questions you don't want to ask. You're going to a really great restaurant, some really great friends, and they bring that dessert tray. You don't go, is it my best interest to eat this? No, that's not the question. The question is, which one will I enjoy the most? How good will this be? How much will I enjoy the taste of this? That's the question. Okay, let me give you some examples of other business things. I've worked with a number of lawyers over the years, and I had one gal that used to come in and not only douse on the different cases and different things working with that, but we would douse on the honesty and the integrity of the judge, of the other lawyers or the mediators or the prosecutors or whatever that was. We would get it down, and she was quite successful. We would get it down to what color clothes did she need to wear to court that day that would be the most beneficial to influence for a favorable outcome for her or her client. So you can get very precise. I'm working with another friend of mine right now who is trying to get a divorce from a person that is a lawyer. He's not a practicing lawyer, and he was a judge. So he knows everybody in this whole area as far as legal matters. So the cards are definitely stacked against her. So we're working really hard and dowsing all these different pieces to make sure that there's a favorable outcome that's basically in the highest and best good for all concerned, and not definitely askew. So that's just an example of a business or a trade or a profession where dowsing can be really, really useful.
Sandee, let me just interject. So say you're in a situation where you are doing business with someone that you can't really change that at this part in the process, and maybe their integrity level is not where you'd like it to be. I guess we can also ask questions to douse to see if we, should I raise the integrity of this individual for this situation?
Not necessarily that you can raise the integrity, but you can remove some of the negativity. Like when my friend was at court a week ago, I had her call me or let me know what time and all the rest of this stuff. And then I cleared the judge, I cleared the other lawyers, I cleared her husband, I cleared the courtroom, I cleared, the clerk, all those different people in there. And I routinely do that for medical situation. If somebody's having surgery or somebody's in the hospital for a reason, the first thing I do is go and clear all that stuff with people. I had a guest at my guest house here at the ranch a couple months ago, first part of April. They were from Minnesota, and they come down and stay for 3 weeks every year to get away of the cold and all that. They had a great granddaughter that was born very prematurely, and she had a defective heart and needs a heart surgery, not a replacement. But she was so tiny and so little, they couldn't even do it. So last week they called and said, okay, she's ready to go in for the heart surgery. I said, okay. So took many, many hours on this tiny baby. At the time they did it, she only weighed 8 pounds, and I weighed that much when I was born at however many months old she was. And I went and cleared the baby, her parents, her grandparents. These are the great grandparents. The doctors, the anesthesiologists, all the nurses, all the staff in there, and the entire room. And there was, combined with everybody as a whole, over 1,500 discarnate entities that would be around that little tiny baby that they were doing heart surgery on. And every hour I set my phone, and every hour I would check again, how many entities, how many demons, how many dark forces, whatever. And that's that's a service that I offer anybody that I know or any clients. Anytime you're having surgery, anything, give me a call and I'll keep that energy clear in the operating room, in the recovery room, in the ICU, whatever. It's just something I'm really capable of doing. I don't ever charge for it, and I'm glad to do it. But that's another example of using, it's not really for business, but of using dowsing in a very precise way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Let me see. Oh, I talked about trading in terms of traveling. Not trading, traveling. Traveling, there's a lot you can do with dowsing. Which gas station? And it may be the one, if you don't use Gas Buddy and you do much traveling, please get Gas Buddy app and use it. It's phenomenal. You need to check for places where you're going to stay, motels and places like that. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not so good. I stayed in a motel a couple years ago when I was driving to Houston. It was about a halfway point in Roswell, New Mexico. I came out the next morning and I didn't realize it right away, but my license plate had been stolen off my Suburban truck. And I had an old license plate in the car. So I just stuck that one on there so I wouldn't get stopped. I tried to get another one in New Mexico, got all the way to Houston, drove around Houston, did all my stuff coming back. And the cop stopped me on the way back into where I live. And he said, that license plate's like 15 years old. What do you do? I said, well, I was in Roswell, New Mexico, and the alien stole my license plate. What do you think happened? He said, what? And I said, what do you think? I'm in Roswell, New Mexico, where they had the UFO crash. The aliens stole my plate. He thought I was crazy, but he didn't give me a ticket. And I told the lady at the license plate bureau the same thing, and she gave me a new one. And the guy said, you know what? That is a major drug route coming out of Mexico up through that way through Roswell. So I'm not surprised they do that a lot. So there you go. I don't know if I could have dowsed. Is my license plate going to be here in the morning? My tire's going to be here, but anyway.
Well, but you could have dowsed,
Is my
this
vehicle safe?
Yeah. Am I in my vehicle safe?
Yeah. And this was 2 or 3 years ago, so it was interesting. But they gave me a new license plate. So that's another thing about traveling. Another is the accuracy of, if you're using GPS, a lot of times they're not accurate. They'll mislead you all kind of ways. And like, it's about 6 hours from where I live to Tucson. And there's a gal that called the other day for directions because I have some guest house. And she says, well, it's this many miles, it's about 200 miles. And she said, this says I can make it in 3 hours or 3 or 4 hours. I said, there is no way. I mean, the GPS told her it was going to, I said, there's no way you could possibly do that. You're going to be driving through the Salt River Canyon. They have a lot of hairpin turns that are 15 miles per hour and, 8% descent and slope. And there's no way. Maybe you could make it in 5 or 5.5 hours, but you could not possibly. So check the accuracy, for example, of what you're being told is from like GPS and some of these other fancy dancy apps and things like that. Is that accurate? Could I really come here in 3 or 4 hours? No, you cannot, unless you get a helicopter or something. You just cannot.
But that's a great question across the board. Is this information accurate?
Absolutely. What's the level of accuracy on that? Especially when you get stuff from the ABC places.
Right. Well, and asking if something's true or not is pretty tricky because
yes,
there's usually like a grain of truth in most things.
Absolutely.
So accuracy might be a better way to.
And then I always ask the opposite way as well. Is it my best interest to do this? Blah, blah, blah. Yes or no. And I go, does that mean it's not in my best interest? Yes, it's not in your best interest. So I'll ask the question both ways, backwards and forwards, to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So let me think what else I need. Oh, another area that I use with dowsing or help people douse with, I've got several clients that are real estate agents, is about real estate. So one of the things is, should I buy this house or not buy this house? Is this, I have a gal from up in the Washington, D.C. area, and she has several houses that they rent out. And she always calls to check, not only have me clear the house, but to check for the tenants, the potential tenants. Called yesterday, gave me the name of 3 or 4 tenants, and to what degree would this be a good and appropriate tenant for this address. You know, 2 checked out 65 to 75%, and 1 checked out about 30%. I said, don't do that one. She knows enough. What's the price to rent it at? If you're going to sell it or buy it, what's the price it should be listed at? And then what would you be willing to take for it, or what would your client be willing to take for it? Maybe it's, you know, listed at 400,000, but we're willing to take 350 or something like that. Or then I'll ask, what's the fair price? What's the fair and right and just price for all involved? And then, of course, things like, are there any problems that aren't obvious, hidden problems? Like, 2 times last week, I had somebody dealing with real estate, that there had been a murder in that house. And we had to go clean all that stuff up about the murder. One was a gal in Illinois. I've never met her, but she's worked with me several times. She bought a little house next door to another house that the guy owned. And come to find out, a school teacher had been murdered there 15 years ago. And she was still hanging around a little bit. And I was like, okay, so what's the deal? And the neighbor was trying to commit suicide. And he hadn't, but he was trying. They found him laying, you know, all this stuff. Anyway, we went in, cleaned it up, straightened it out, and come to find out, it's so weird. My work, I'm so lucky because it's always weird and I never get bored. That my client, who lived in the house where the woman was murdered, she was a school teacher, and she'd been stabbed by this guy that was supposed to be her handyman about 10 or 15 times. And he was in prison. And she had been friends with her, even though she'd never met her, in another lifetime long ago. And now the person that was murdered felt real good. She went on because this other friend of hers was going to take good care of the house, and she loved the house. Isn't that wild?
It's amazing.
Yeah. And then one in Houston, my client called, and she was trying to sell a house. So everything was going great. They had a buyer. They were already picking the colors to repaint. They had a problem because they had a grand piano on the 2nd floor, and it was going to cost a lot of money to get a crane. But they got a buyer that had an 8-year-old child that wanted to learn to play the piano. Blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden it stopped. Everything was wrong. And the woman that had lived in the house had been murdered. No, hadn't been murdered. She died and laid there for like 10 days or a week before they found her. So that was kind of stinky, I guess. And she stopped it. She stopped that sale. And it was because she had had some kind of a curse thing with the guy that was trying to buy it in another lifetime. So I took them both up there. I did some work on it. They cleaned it up. All went well, and it's in process of being sold now. So there may be hidden things, you know, maybe there's a lot of places in Houston that during the Texas and Mexican War, especially out west, the Southwest area, there was an area there where they used part of that land for like a, I don't know what they would call it, a hospital area where they would take the wounded soldiers and out of battle and stuff like that. So a lot of that land out there was sort of contaminated, or compromised or whatever. So sometimes you have to douse and clean the land, clean the emotions, clean the emotional trauma, clean all the tragedies and stuff off the land. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that about real estate, because there's a lot of different things, like what dates do you sell on? We're just coming out of Mercury retrograde, and you know, things that you have to do, whether you're you've got tenants, or you're buying a place, or you're a real estate person. All of those, there's lots you can do with that. Okay. Any other questions?
We had one, I guess it's a comment, really. Margaret was talking about how she worked with Stuart Marmstein to get remediation for over a year of BPA exposure in pillows, which she discovered for herself dowsing. Okay, wow. I did not know that there would be BPA in pillows. I thought that was only in water bottles.
Plastic bottles and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised, yeah. Sometimes there's things that in doing with health, which isn't our thing today, but the same principles relate to all this. Is there something in my environment that is contributing to this health issue or this health condition. And so ask questions about that. Is it in the environment? And it may not be actually physically in the environment. It may be energetically. You might be in the flight path of an airplane. You might be near a military base. There might be a friend in Phoenix. She was having some stuff, and it's where she lived is over, way down, probably miles, over a tectonic plate that was shifting. And that was causing some stuff with maybe sleep or vertigo or some other things going on with her. So, check the ground level, check the residence level, check above ground level, check below ground level. And remember, because you're working in the quantum, you can ask anything, even if it doesn't make any sense. Is it something coming from a base on the moon? Is it coming from UFOs? Is it coming from satellites? Is it coming from some kind of radionic or RIFE equipment? Is it something coming from something that we don't even have the words to describe the technology, because they have different kinds of energetics and we don't even know about. But is there negative or unbeneficial, or however you want to say it, forces or energies that are affecting me or my home or my neighborhood or whatever in a particular way? And there's a lot of people that are extremely sensitive. They're just so sensitive. These are some of the special light workers that have been sent here to help bring in the new world. And they're just sensitive to all these kind of energies. And I refer you back to my stuff that I've done with allergies. If I have to do some more on that, I can, because there's even people that have an allergy to being on the earth plane. They have an allergy to being in your body. They have an allergy to, I've met a couple of people who had allergy to the sunshine, and being their true self, or different things like that. So all of those are factors that you can learn to dowse in. But just saying dowsing is just so special. It's such a gift. It can be a whole path to healing. You check Susan Collins, she was crippled with, I don't know if it was rheumatoid arthritis or something, and she's an excellent dowser out of Canada. Her whole healing path was based on dowsing. It can be a path to preparedness for craziness that's going on or coming up. And you can use dowsing, just dowsing, as a spiritual path, a path to enlightenment. It is just such an unlimited thing that I wish and really hope for people to have more respect, more reverence, more appreciation, more gratitude for the skill of dowsing, and not to take it lightly, but to just really honor and be so grateful that you've even heard of it, that you've even been exposed to it, whether you become a master at it or not. But just the privilege of knowing that such a thing exists on the planet and is available to everybody that will take some time and energy and effort to learn and study from it is just so important. Any other questions?
We do have a couple things. So the BPA, she's explaining, so polyester can also be like down alternative, and can mean recycled plastic bottles. And boy, that's true. There's a lot of all this, a lot of the exercise wear is recycled plastic and bottles and all that kind of stuff. I never thought about the BPA. She said CNN just ran an article on the internet about concern for BPA in clothes, especially sportswear.
Wow.
So yeah, and you can dowse and muscle test about how you're gonna, this article of clothing, will
Safe
it
and appropriate, yeah.
yeah
Or
be
if
safe?
you have to get it, how many minutes or how many hours a day could you wear it, for example? Or how long can you be exposed to something without detrimental effects?
Yeah, safe and appropriate is great. Yeah, they were saying it's especially dangerous because your pores open and you sweat, right, when you're exercising, and then you just, that's your biggest organ, of
Absolutely.
so, and then you just suck in all those toxins.
It's like taking a shower when you're taking a shower or bath in Houston. I mean, you've got chlorine coming in your pores. And I'm so spoiled up here because I have my own well and I don't have any chlorine or fluoride or anything like that. That before I go anywhere to Houston or Tucson or whatever, I fill a whole bunch of bottles up, empty bottles up with my own water so I can take my own water. Because boy, when I get a whiff of that stuff with the chlorine, I go, wow, did I just fall in a swimming pool somewhere or something like that? It's just shocking when you have to deal with it.
Do you put it in glass?
Yeah, sometimes I
Yeah.
take glass bottles, sometimes unfortunately they're plastic, but I bring my own water if I can help it. Yeah.
Well, also, I mean, I guess we can ask, right, about our shower head. Will this filtration system,
I'll affect the visit. Yeah.
stop the harmful toxins? Or, I guess worst case scenario, you can neutralize the water, the harmful elements in the water
Yeah. And you
coming
might
from
need
your
to break
tap.
it down. You might need to break it down. Is it pathogens? Is it a virus? Is it solids? Is it hormones? Now all these pills and everything for lots of stuff never gets dissolved and it's showing up up in the water from all kinds of medications and stuff.
Well, and something that I learned recently is that we're having an estrogen dominance problem, not only for animals, but for men and women, children, all that.
Right.
And it's not, they, now it's illegal to do the what do you call it, where they pump the chickens full of hormones so they can grow,
Probiotics and
but
stuff.
they genetically modify them so they will be fat and plump, which affects their estrogen, so it's the same thing is happening. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so pathogens, hormones, yeah, I don't know,
All kind
pollution
of
might be
stuff.
too
Yeah.
broad. Okay, we have a couple of things here. Let's see. One, Terry's suggestion that we can neutralize our body's negative response to BPA. That would be good.
Yeah.
The
If you do something like that, check to see how long that holds. Because
Mhm.
you may have to do it, like once a week or once a month, or check it. Don't just say assume that you did it one time and it's taken care of, because it's not always that way.
That's a great reminder. Okay, and then let's see, the mixed metals in jewelry. Yeah, some people I think are very sensitive to that. And then there was also a comment, but I think it's a question when you're talking about things that you're asking about, kind of like all the things you were talking about in New Mexico, dimensions or with the real estate, right?
Yeah.
So you could include dimensions and
Right.
yeah, maybe we could sometimes I say like time, space, dimensions, and all realities.
Yes.
So
We really, because we're moving hopefully into these higher dimensional planes, and we're moving more into quantum rather than Newtonian physics, which is the area where Dowsers work. We didn't even know that there was a name for that. Dowsers and people that are really excellent shaman are working in the quantum field, which is beyond Newtonian physics. It doesn't relate to the regular cause and effect kind of physics that supposedly Einstein, and he was wrong about a lot of stuff. So we're working in these higher levels that are beyond the levels of interference and things going on. So we've got to learn some of this language, and we've got to learn to trust ourselves as we go in. That's why it's important to make sure that you clear yourself before you do this. You're good and grounded, and drink some water and all the rest of just the basic stuff, basic 1, 2, 3 protocol that you should have learned when you first took a class in dowsing, if you did that, unless you were sort of self-taught, in which case then you just need to make sure you do that anyway. Yeah.
I will say what I've noticed recently with all the cosmic stuff and the things happening on the planet. I mean, there's a lot happening, right? That I think now more than ever, we have to get very present, especially if you're going to get behind the wheel of a car. I mean, there's so much chaotic energy going on, and a lot of people who are not grounded and not present. And sometimes when I'm driving, I can see other drivers. So I'll just say, I am visible to other drivers.
Right. Good point.
So I think we have to get really clear and grounded and very present when we step out into the world. So,
Yes, absolutely.
um,
Any other
okay.
questions?
Yes. We what questions would you ask for a personal issue that has literally torn a family apart?
First of all, I would see who the players are. This is what I would do for me, not necessarily as a dowsing question, but because of the nature of the way I approach my work. I would see who all the people are that are involved, including dead ones, because there could be ancestors or there could be relatives on the other side that have an agenda. You know, I never wanted my granddaughter to marry that guy and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. I would certainly clear them, clear everybody of all the detrimental and negative or unbeneficial effects affecting them. I would probably work with some of Amy Jo's stuff, Amy Jo Ellis with Full Court of Atonement stuff. I'd probably do some of that. I'd see if there's any orchestrated interference, like curses, you know, like the cat pills and the McCoys, that kind of stuff. Try your best to see from the other person's viewpoint who's involved in whatever the upset is, where are they coming from? Because that's the whole key to really understanding a lot of stuff, is to see where's the other person. If I'm looking through their eyes, what does the world look like from where they're coming from? And then see if you can, there are different systems. Bert Hellinger with family constellation work, some of the Court of Atonement stuff, some of the other systems, literally one person can heal an entire family. One person can heal an entire family. It can take some work. It doesn't necessarily happen instantly, but it's possible for that to happen. So anyway, just that would just be my approach, would be to start taking it apart, seeing who's, you know, maybe they've got past lives together, and this would kill that one, and that would kill this one, and this would kill that one. And they got to say, okay, let's stop. Let's don't do that anymore. Let's do something else. And forgive yourself for not forgiving. Clean some of that stuff up. But, you know, those are the kinds of things I love to work on, those kind of cases, because one of my degrees is in criminology, and I think of myself as Inspector Clouseau with the Pink Panther, and I love to take things apart, like who murdered this woman and what was her this and all the rest of that kind of stuff. And so I love unraveling those kind of mysteries and hopefully providing some solutions to bring some resolution to that. So get your pendulum out and start dowsing every possible thing that you can think of about that. Yeah.
Okay, I've got a few more questions. We typically go to 8:30. I don't know what your battery is and how you're
My battery
doing.
is getting better. All the prayers everybody does, it's up to, from 72%, it's up to 85.
Fantastic.
It's charging. It's great.
It's charging.
It's
It's charging. Excellent. Okay, so I have kind of a business question. I did not do my due diligence with a particular client, and anyhow, so what questions would be beneficial to ask to shift things if someone is not wanting to paid and agreed upon amount?
Go back and see what the agreements were, see if there was anything that was left out or could be misinterpreted. It. Ask them sincerely what their perspective is or what their point of view is. Is it a problem of communication? Is it somebody that's just trying to scam you or take advantage or rip you off? If they have a sleazy level of integrity, then you can use all the logic in the world and they're still going to be a scoundrel. In which case, clear their energies, at least for a few minutes, you know, clear them off. You don't have to have permission to clear somebody of creepy crawlies. See what you can learn from it, what you could have done differently or done better or whatever. Go see if there's some forgiveness work that needs to be done. Go see if there's some past life stuff that needs to be done. And those would be some things that I would check on. Just make a list of some of the possible things and go, is there anything here I need to pay attention to? Yes or no, or whatever. Yeah, there might be a little bit of something here. Okay. Then investigate it further. The whole key for dowsing is the question. The question. And the more you can learn to ask specific and precise questions, I always say the quality of the answer is going to depend on the quality of the question. Is that helpful at all?
Right. I was just thinking of, yeah, I guess I can make a list of things. And yeah, I probably ignored a little gut, a little
Uh-huh.
intuition, right off the bat.
Little red flag, because we want to make something happen. We want to, we want that
Well,
client or whatever.
right. And yeah, the sometimes I have found, this is not a blanket statement, but working with attorneys can be less than rewarding.
Can be challenging, yes.
Can be challenging. So yeah.
Thank goodness for teachers in the world, so we can learn something new. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Okay, it says, can you find a peacemaker? Do you mean to say pacemaker?
Says
No,
what?
no.
Sorry.
It says, can you find a peacemaker? But I think that must mean, I'm not sure what, Mona, if you can clarify that question.
Do you mean on another level, or do you mean a mediator for a
A
problem?
person who makes the peace. Give us a scenario that, yeah, put
You
it
could
in
be
a
the peacemaker.
context.
You could be the peacemaker.
Right. Or if you need, yeah.
Okay, then maybe you need another mediator, either a professional mediator, which is somebody you pay, or somebody that can look at both sides of the situation and see what needs to be done. And there's some people, you're just not going to get them to straighten up and fly right. You're just not going to do it. So you just, cut your losses, you forgive what you can forgive, and you move on down the line. And you don't, just because somebody's in your family doesn't mean they have to be your best friend. Some of these people are real scoundrels, and they're not to be trusted, and they have an agenda, and they don't like you, and they killed you before, and they want to kill you again. So you don't have to convert them and make them straighten up and fly right. Just you take care of your business, you handle your stuff, you handle your forgiveness or judgment or whatever, and just bless them on the path. That's what I tell them. See you around the galaxy, buddy.
Right. I mean, I guess if you have a situation where you want someone to kind of keep the peace, yeah, I guess it would be like interviewing somebody maybe, and you could ask those questions.
Yeah.
You're right. And like Sandy said, some people you can't change. And what can be done about a narcissist?
Nothing. You can take that one for a big NO nothing. Narcissist. If they really are clinically a narcissist. Now, people throw that terms around all the time these days, real loosely. And not everybody is. They may have some tendencies, but if it's a full-blown real narcissist, they don't think there's anything wrong, and they don't want to fix it, and they don't want to get better. It really stems from some childhood stuff where they had very conflicting information between their parents and their family. Very conflicting, and it's real hard to deal with. I'd rather deal with heroin addiction than that.
Sure. And I would think you could ask the question, or neutralize the effects of maybe being around that, or set it up for yourself that you have some kind of a radar that goes off before you get truly involved, or any kind of a business relationship or any kind of a connection with a narcissist. You could set all that. Someone
and
saying,
if you have reason to do business with that person, if you have some kind of soul contract, if you've got past life, if there's some unfinished business that the two of you need to get it handled, and then just bless them on their path. You don't need to keep negative or creepy people in your life, especially if they're in your family. Oh, just
no.
give them back to God.
Let's see. So someone's talking about children and grandchildren. So if there is disharmony in that, I would say that, kind of just like she said, estate, right? Where you can do all the clearing that you can. What would you recommend for if somebody would like to create some family harmony or more peace in
Well,
their immediate family?
take a look at their own stuff first. Where did they contribute to the disharmony? Are they trying to control an adult child and tell them what to do and still, make them behave the way you want them to, in which case that's not appropriate. Do whatever forgiveness there needs to be done. Try to see things from the other person's point of view. And then Amy Jo's got some speed calls in her Court of Atonement, like family reunification, loss of a sibling, loss of a mate, resolution of wrath or anger or personal affronts or something like that. Take a look at some of that work. And then, see if there's past lives between these people that need to be cleared or unfinished business. And then you can also just release some emotions. Those would be all good things. They're not hard. They're easy to do, and they might make a difference and be helpful. Or, you can always hire somebody like me to go unravel the rat's nest. And, I really kind of do work with things that are hard to figure out for other people that don't fall into the regular model of things. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it made me kind of think about, I guess, all of these tips, the minding your business, would also really probably apply to relationships.
Absolutely.
So if you're dating or you're meeting somebody, I guess there's plenty of good questions to ask.
Oh boy, you're not kidding. Have I known this before? Do we have past lives together? Is there unfinished business? Are they in my highest and best good? How much are frequencies in alignment? How much is their potential chaos or upheaval? Maybe we just have short business for a short while and then move on down the line, but you've got to get this person out of the way before you meet another person that's important or appropriate for your business or your life or whatever. And you've got unfinished business with this that has to be finished up first, or a lesson to be learned or something. Yeah. So all those are areas. And then plus what we've already talked about. What's their level of integrity? What's their agenda? What's their business? And with relationships, especially intimate relationships, always take a look at how did their parents get along with each other? How respectful were they? Because that's the role model about how they will be in the world or the kind of way that they will treat the other person. How did their parents get along? How did their parents treat each other? Were they emotionally available? Were they argumentative? Was there terror or violence or trauma in the home? Were they always struggling with money? Were they compulsive about religion? All these are kinds of things that are worth exploring. Yeah.
Well, even if parents have issues, the child can move beyond that.
Yes, but it takes work. You have to do a little work. It's just magically going to disappear, And people say, oh, you can't change the past. You absolutely can change the past. You can change the past because reality is our perception of it. You go back and you change the perception, and then you change the reality, and then you change the timeline. I'm giving a whole workshop on this at in the October Flagstaff Dowsing Conference. So if you're serious about dowsing, get your tail up to Flagstaff in October, get on the website, and it's several days long, full of really great dowsers from all over the country. And it's a great opportunity to meet other dowsers and learn a lot of new skills. So,
okay, say that again slowly. What's your
Flagstaff,
topic?
Arizona.
No, I know, but tell us, change the past to change your future.
You can change the past. See, they say you can't go back again. I say you can go back. You can time travel back into the past. Remember, we're working at the quantum field. We're not working at just linear, past, present, future. You're going to go back into the past. You understand what needs to be done. You change, you clear, you forgive, you whatever. And you change your perception of what it was. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. I have a friend, she might be on the call. Called me a couple of days ago. This person is an Aquarian. What is Aquarius rules? Friends and relationships. And she's a very upbeat, positive, inspiring person. She wakes up in the morning and she's, oh, go, the sun's come up again. And when we'd be at conferences, she'd wake everybody up. Look, the sun's shining. And we go, shut up. We need to get some sleep here, and just Miss Mary Sunshine. Okay. So what she does is she remembers everybody's birthday, probably the dog's birthday. In fact, just before I got on this call, she called me and I go, hi, what's the deal? She said, today's our birthday. And I was like, what? This woman whom I adore, 40 years ago on this date, I helped her quit smoking. Her mother died a practicing alcoholic, and she believes that I saved her from that whole addiction pattern process. And every single year on this date, and I don't even remember, but she does, she calls me to thank her for having hypnotized her to quit smoking. Okay, so she called the other day and said, I'm really having a hard time because so-and-so never remembers my birthday and and what we went back, and like, play like ET doesn't remember your birthday. Don't take it personally. Yes, but this and that and the other. I said, you're a very considerate friend in that way, but everybody else isn't. They got a lot going on. Went back to when she was a little child in the crib, and her mother wasn't taking very good care of her. And the story was, her dad told her later, sometimes I'd go in there and you'd be in the dark. Nobody would be doing anything for you. And you'd just be cooling away and basically talking to the angels. So she had energetic, like, connection with spirits on the other side as a baby in the crib. But now she doesn't have that in present. And so we just reframed that. So she changed the perception of, she had those angels back then, which kept her safe and entertained and protected and all that stuff. And now she thinks she doesn't have friends that care about her. But I reminded her, yeah, you still have these angels around you and you use them all the time. Begin to think of it different. So she changed that perception back then. And then that brought all that forward into that she's not surrounded by people that are not thoughtful or considerate, because she still got that connection with spirit. Does that make sense? Change the past. You reframe what happened as far back as you can find with the root cause. And sometimes the root cause is in another life. And that's what a lot of my original training was past life stuff. So that's an area that I feel I'm really good at. I am good at it. I don't just feel it. I am good at it. Not good at technology,
I can vouch for that.
but I'm darn good at past life work. Yeah, darn good at that. Does that make sense about changing the past? You change your perception.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's rich. Thank you. Okay, question. Well, you may not have the answer right now, but do you think you're going to be coming to Houston and later this year?
Yeah, potentially we're going to do it in the fall. So maybe another 2-3 months or so when it cools down a little bit. I'm over the heat and the humidity and the cockroaches and the potholes and the pollution and the craziness. I'm over that. I'm living up here. You can see the background. This is my house. This is my place. This is not a stock photograph. This is how my sky.
Really, really beautiful.
Yeah. So
Sandee accepts guests. She has an Airbnb.
So. Two of them. Yeah.
So yeah, y'all can spend some time in the high desert. So,
yeah.
Well, this has been great.
Okay, that's
Do
it.
we have any other questions?
Questions, comments, suggestions, complaints? Thanks for coming back on after we screwed up last week. We just made it in spite of the dark forces trying to take us down here.
We're going to change the perception of the past week, and this is the perfection of the moment.
Yes, absolutely.
We've got great information. Your phone is charging. The people who can be present are, and then this is going to go out to people in the future who are going to continue to benefit from this. So
okay, so my website for people that want to look up and know a little bit more about me is sandeemac.com, SANDEEMAC.com. Email is sandeemac100, SANDEEMAC, the number 100 at gmail.com. And then what else? My phone number. There's not very people. I'll give my phone number. 505-577-5775. I know it's a New Mexico number, but I'm not in New Mexico. I'm in Arizona. So there may be a time difference. What else do we?
Yeah, you're getting quite a few testimonials in the chat. Denise and Stacy and myself, I know, can all vouch for you personally. You've had a
Thank you.
very profound impact on me. And I am very grateful. And yeah, moved a lot of
You
energy.
used to weigh 300 pounds and you were so ugly. And look at you now. You're just,
Thanks, Sandy.
oh
Yeah.
my God.
No, that's not true. But
No, it's not true.
there's been a lot of internal change, I will say, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Things have shifted.
Okay. So y'all can call me up if you've got some other questions or something. I don't know if you want me to offer some little thing or not. I don't know. I don't usually.
If you'd like to, I mean, Sandy's working with her is life changing, so I highly recommend it. She's available for sessions, and she is pretty quick and very thorough. You know, she likes to move at a very fast pace, so she's got her protocol kind of down to a science, and you just, if you work with her in person, it's really amazing. In the same room, you can just see how fast she dowses things. So it's a testament to dowsing. But yeah, she works long distance. It works just as well. So yeah, if you have anything that you want to change, I highly recommend calling Sandy.
Yeah, and if we'll just do a little quickie thing here. If I mean, I could. Let me see what I could do. I could do a 15-minute session. I mean, because I know a lot of people don't have, what do they call it? Discretionary, dispensable, unlimited money, but they got something important, but they need a little bit of help with it. So this is for these people, or you want to see if, you think I'm worth a flip for anything. Let's say I will give a 15-minute session for, 15 minutes, not 35 minutes, 15 minutes. I'll set a timer for $20 or $25, and we'll give that out for, I don't know, 2 or 3 months or something like that. Is that fair? Is that
okay? So if this is May, June, so what, end July 1st, between now and July 1st?
Or August 1st, yeah.
Okay,
There'll be
August
some
1st.
people that might hear it on the replay.
Okay, and we can post it on I'll have our amazing Emily put it in there, that you're going to offer this special until August 1st.
Yeah. If you just want to try me out.
If we want to what?
If they just want to try me out and see if I'm helpful for that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I think
don't bring all the biggest problems in the whole world. When I used to do primarily hypnosis, which was my main work for many years, I would be taking somebody down into trance and they go, oh, by the way, I need to lose 30 pounds. Would you stop me from smoking and find my soulmate while you're down there? I was like, no, I don't think I can do all that in 15 minutes. So, be reasonable about what you want.
Okay. So when you do a hypnosis type session, how long does that typically take?
I used to do that in person, and I don't do that much anymore. My sessions, if you hire me to do work, run an hour to an hour and a half. And so that's what that is. But now I can take people, as okay, we're going back to this lifetime. 1, 2, 3, boom, they're back there. I don't have to spend. When I first learned to do hypnosis and past life work, it took me 17 minutes. That's what it took, 17 minutes just to get somebody in an altered state. And now the energies have changed so much, I can just say, okay, here you are in this other lifetime. This is what's going on. 1, 2, 3, whatever you get. And you start telling me all the stuff, and then we go in and change it just like that. It's real quick and easy. Down and dirty, fast and easy. Yeah.
Yeah. You've got a super quick protocol.
Okay. So encourage all to keep practicing dowsing, keep learning from lots and lots of people. perfect it as much as you can, and please honor it as just the most precious and valuable skill, art, science, gift that you could ever have. I mean, I can't think of anything better. Really, honestly, I can't. So please really take care of your ability to douse and just take it to the finest, highest levels that you can, and turn other people onto it. That would be my Christmas wish.
Yeah, thank you. That's wonderful. Appreciate that. And yes, we will keep dowsing, and we will become more precise with our questions
Yeah.
and practice it in everyday life, because this is a great program just reminding us how we can mind our business on a daily basis with dowsing. So thank you so much. And everyone, lots of love in the chat for you. So thank you all. And thanks for showing up and tuning into the Lone Star Dowsers.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're going to have a great person next month, right?
I'm working on that.
Okay, great. Oh, it's a surprise. A
It
surprise.
is.
That will be great. Okay.